The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey everybody, this is the Tax Lady who is almost done with tax season. So 3.5 more days, half a day, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, that's it. And we want to help you because we know that a lot of people have not filed. I just read an article yesterday that says the IRS said for the first time, like in a long time, they have less returns coming in by millions. And so a lot of people are filing extensions. And I thought if you have a balance due story that you want to share with us, give us a call, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930, and a cell phone. And by the way, our text line is down. So if you have something you're going to text in, give us a call. We'd love to hear your voice. And Chris is busy doing tax returns, and so we got Tiff to come away from her desk. So Tiffany Fabian's with me. Hey, Tiff.
Hey, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday,
Yeah,
Tiff.
this is the last season day of tax season 2024 and 2025. So very excited.
Yes. I'm excited.
Very excited.
The ever-ready bunny's running out of juice here. So Tuesday's the deadline. On Tuesday, if you're somebody that's going to owe taxes, you have to get a tax return in one way or another. Either the tax return that is completed or you have to do an extension. If you do an extension, does it extend the time to pay? Because one of my clients said, well, I don't think I'm just going to pay this year. Well, let's just do an extension. And it gives me till October.
Nope.
Wrong.
Unfortunately not. Not at all. Nope. You have to still pay. You can pay with the extension. I know before the show I was talking to a client who unfortunately owes $29,000. And so I said, you might want to pay what you owe before filing the extension. He's setting up a SEP, and so the broker wants an extra 6 months to get it ready.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, but explain why. See, when you're self-employed and you have a bottom line, then you can open up a simplified employee pension, and you can do that up till the extension deadline, October the 15th, provided that you
File an extension.
Right.
And
You file
so
the extension, and that gives you time on an SEP only when you're self-employed, but not on an IRA. Those
Right.
IRAs, if you're somebody that's going to
By the due
use that to reduce your tax liability, and you're using a traditional IRA, you only have till Tuesday to get it done.
Yep. And so an SEP, you can put up to 25% of the net in. And the person, Charmaine, is helping him, and she needs she's really busy, and she asked for us to fill the extension.
Right.
Yep.
So, so if you're somebody that was shocked, because and people were shocked. I had a gentleman yesterday at the front desk, front counter, and Chris did his return.
Right.
And he said, this can't be right. And so I opened up his last year's return and this year's return. I said, you made $35,000 extra. And he said, well, would that result in like an extra $10,000 in taxes? And I said, at your tax bracket, yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he said, wow, I can't believe it. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are shocked, and that's why I want to make sure that you understand they are going to penalize you if you have a balance due unless you file that return and pay the taxes, or file an extension and pay the taxes. And the extension only extends the time to send in the paperwork.
Yeah, and it's been a big year for, let's face it, 2024 was a great year for investment. So a lot of people find that they're owing a lot more this year.
That's right.
Capital
and
gains,
I think
dividends,
that's why
interest.
they're thinking that they're going to get away with it with an extension. You're really not. You're just kidding yourself, because they're the very thing that you're trying to get away from. It's going to happen.
Right.
if you file an extension without the payment. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And for those of you that are in sunny Florida, we have an office on Airport Pulling Road, 1450 Airport Pulling, across the street from Tamiami Ford, and we'll help you to get it done before the tax deadline.
Most definitely.
Right? We have a phone call from Lillian. Hey, Lillian, how can we help you?
Hi. I was wondering if a trust is a beneficiary of an IRA account. How is the tax figured?
Well, if the trust is a beneficiary, then the money's going to go over to the trust, and the trust files a tax return.
Okay,
And
so
they will pay.
do
They pay at a much higher rate.
Okay, do you know what the does the rate depend on some kind of income, or it's just
It's all based upon income.
So-
The whole tax code is based upon income.
okay?
If you don't have income, or if you don't have enough income because you're under the minimum filing requirement, you don't have to file a tax return.
right.
You know, obviously people that file a tax return when they are under the minimum filing requirement, it would file because they have a refund coming. But in a situation where it's when the trust is a beneficiary, it's going to pass on to them, and the trust exclusion is very low, and so therefore the trust is going to pay taxes.
Okay. Do you happen to know what the exclusion is?
Different trusts have different exclusions.
I see.
If it's a decedent's trust, it has a different exclusion than some of the other trusts.
It's usually like a couple of $100 you have to file.
Or six, yeah. One of them is
$600.
six, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
so
small.
where would you suggest I could get more detailed information?
Well, I mean, you could Google it. Just Google taxes and trust, or how our trust taxed.
Okay.
So there's different kind
Okay.
of trusts. There's revocable, irrevocable. There's grantor trusts. There's all different kind of trusts.
So the documents that you got from the trust, are they interest forms or dividends or 1099Bs?
It's a revocable trust, and
All right. Well, then that means it just goes on your personal return.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
If it's a revocable trust, it goes on your personal return.
Okay. And after I'm dead, then
Well, after you're dead, then it would.
the
Well, it all depends. Does it dissolve upon your death?
Oh, I see. No, it's meant to continue.
Okay.
So I guess.
Well, all right, this would be my suggestion, Lillian. There's like 3 days before the end of tax season.
Right.
Have you filed that return? Or are you gonna file the return?
No, because I'm still alive.
Okay, so you're
I'm
putting
just
it on your
kind of
return. So I
information
suggest
for
you come
my-
on in the summer, would sit down with a cup of coffee and go over your situation and explain it to you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank
you,
you.
Lillian. Thanks for calling. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And our text line is down, so you can't text us. You got to call us.
Yep.
Because I love talking to people.
Exactly.
All right, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back on the other side. Hey, to us, you are family. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady, joined in studio with Tiffany Fabian. We got basically 2.5, 3 days left before the end of tax season. Tuesday's the 15th. That's it.
Yep.
Okay, so here, if you have a balance due story, you never owed before, what are you doing to pay your balance due? I will tell you, I had a lovely gentleman yesterday that owed the year before he owed, and the year before he owed. So he's on this wonderful payment program, $200 and some a month, and he was going to set going to add this balance due to the mix. And I said to him, "Why are you doing that? You're never going to get the obligation paid." And he said, "Well, I don't know what to do." And this is what's so important. First of all, I said, you can change your W-4. At work, you change your W-4 so they're taking out more tax dollars so that you don't owe at the end of the year. Because what he was doing is owing, then he would take money out of his pension plan. He's under the age of 59 and a half, so he ended up picking up the income tax, the penalties, and it was just a vicious circle, like a rat running around on a wheel. So I suggested, what's your house worth? He said, $300,000. He said, I'm not selling. I said, I didn't tell you to sell. How much? $300,000. How much you owe on it? Around $80,000. I said, so you have equity of you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity. Why don't you get a home equity credit line, pay up those obligations that you owe? You owe $40,000, get it done with. The interest rate's going to be much lower. You'll stop taking money out of your pension plan, and you'll be free.
Yeah, I told somebody the other day either to do that or to take a loan on his 401k.
Well, this is the problem. He did take a loan, this guy did, on his and guess who defaulted on his loan?
He did.
And so then he ended up with the income and the penalty.
Right. Well, you shouldn't default on the loan.
I know, but this is reality.
Right.
People that owe money year after year after year really need some counseling, and we are happy to help you.
Most definitely.
But I'm going to tell you something. Owing the IRS in state of New York is not a fun position to be in.
No.
And let's talk about
penalties.
offers and again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. You're the offer and compromise queen.
Yep.
So explain who could get an offer and compromise.
It's based on doubt to collectability. So if you're somebody who makes maybe, $30,000-$40,000 a year, you don't own many assets, and you owe all this money to the IRS, then the IRS has a wonderful program. It's called an offer and compromise, and it's where you pay like pennies on the dollar. So if you owe $60,000, you can try to settle for $600. And so it's sort of like bantering a ball back and forth. You come to the table with $600 and they say, how about $1,200? And so we just batter back and forth. Now it has to be that they can't collect from you. And so you really have to be in a position where you don't have any assets. Like that gentleman you said had a house. And so the IRS would say to you, go get a loan or a home equity and pay us off. Now, if that might be your case, you could get denied for a home equity, and we could present that to the IRS and say, no, their credit is so bad, it's not something that's possible.
Yes, I said to him, how's your credit? He said 750. I said, well, that you should be able to get it. And I said, so why don't you go to Jesse at Cross State? Because Jesse is really good at doing home equity credit lines. You know his phone number?
I do know Jesse's phone number. Jesse does a great job. He is great to talk to. His phone number is 716-984-6968. Again, 716-984-6968. And so...
But he's not like Jesse standing on the corner and, he's got no credibility. He is a mortgage broker.
Right.
And he is absolutely great. And every client that we've sent to them, to Jesse at Cross State, has been happy. And but you can use your own bank. But here's the thing: you only have till Tuesday to come up with a game plan. And so, if your game plan is no, I'm just gonna go back and do the payment arrangement again, they're happy to work with you.
Yeah, but even if you talk to Jesse and you pay it a few days late, the interest is far better.
Yeah, so you have to understand, let's say that it's next week before you can come up with the home equity, but you file your
return.
You file your return,
and you know the answer,
or you file the extension. If you pay it a week late, the failure to pay penalty is only 0.5% per month. So it would be a very low penalty right at that point in time. The problem is when people ignore it and they don't file anything. Because the failure to file penalty is 5% per month until it gets to 25%.
Correct.
So if you think about it, they're saying 5% first month, then it's 10% the 2nd month, and
15.
you can see what they're saying is get it in, get it paid, get it
Correct.
done. So I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax. 8030930. 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. All right, if somebody wants to file an extension, what form do they file?
They file a 4868 and an IT 370, and the 4868 is the federal, and the IT 370 is the equivalent New York.
And of course, if you're in Florida, you file nothing because there is no Florida tax.
Yeah, and I just talked to somebody before the show, and he has a large balance due. I think I mentioned him a moment ago, and we know what the balance due is, so I recommended that he pay that with the extension, because the extension is not an extension to pay, it's just an extension to file your return.
Right, to get the paperwork in. I just was working with a couple, and he just became self-employed. And self-employed people end up paying their own FICA,
Right,
and that's 15.3%.
correct.
And they pay their own income tax. And so this lovely couple that I was dealing with, they said, well, they've been putting the money in the bank, and they want to get the interest. They don't want to give it to the IRS. Tell me what happens when you have a big balance. Even if you timely file your return and you have a balance due,
Sure.
they end up doing what to you?
So the IRS likes their money in equal periodic payments throughout the year. And so they don't want you to pay all at the end. They want their money equally spread out throughout the year. And so there's a penalty if you don't pay in 100% of your tax from the year prior, or if you owe over $1,000, potentially too. And New York State also does the same thing. So you should really not keep the money in the bank. You should do estimated payments
Because the money
quarterlies.
that you put in the bank is going to be mitigated by the fact that they're going to penalize you for not timely filing. And so what you would file in that situation, because you're no longer an employee, what they're taking out of your with your wages, you would file estimated tax payments. And really, many of you that are doing investments, you might have a lot of, I know right now with the portfolios down, you would think we're not going to need that this year, but you want to make sure that you prepay that liability so you don't get penalized again.
That's right.
And
That's
I will
right.
tell you, if you are feeling the heat because you know Tuesday's breathing down your back, the other thing you could do is you could not that I think that it's good, but Tiffany said you could borrow against your 401k. That's true. You could even use a credit card or your home equity if you're somebody that has a home equity credit line. Those are things to get rid of that payment, that balance due to the federal government and state of New York.
Right. Exactly.
And change your W-4
Yep.
at work.
That's right. Yeah.
And those new W-4s are so convoluted. People don't understand them.
They're so bad because I still sit here and they're like, okay, I did married 0. I did married 1. And I'm like,
Well, there is no married
no,
0. There
no,
is no married
no,
1
no,
anymore.
no,
You fill out that
exactly.
form, you put your other in it, and basically it's telling them take out less.
Yep. It was about 9 years ago in 2016 when they changed the withholding form. That came along with the Trump tax changes. And so the withholding form that you're used to is no
Gone. And I
longer.
think they should go back to that. But anyway,
So do I.
why don't we go to the phones? We'll go talk to John. Hey, John, how can we help you, sir?
Yeah, I did a dumb thing. Usually I pay by credit card, but I wasn't able to do that this year. So I had a check, and I mailed it in with that little strip they give you to put in there, the little coupon
The
or
voucher.
whatever. Yeah, and I forgot to put my social on the check. So I have no idea what's going to happen at this point. Did they void it? Did they send it back? Do I got to pay a penalty? I've never done
Well,
this
hopefully
before.
they're going to put the check with the voucher, and they're going to credit it properly. But a thing that you could do is stop payment on the check and reissue.
Oh, if it arrives after April 15th, though, then I'm going to have to pay a
Well,
penalty.
April 5th, you can go down to the bank and have it sent overnight. I mean, not the bank, the post office. I mean, if you electronically, you didn't do it electronically. You can't do it that way.
No, I
so
didn't.
you could stop payment on the check and reissue, and that's really an option you might want to think about, because if they go to cash it and it doesn't cash, but you got a new check that came in timely filed, then you won't be penalized on that either.
It's a certified check. I gave cash to the woman at the bank, and she made the check out. It's not like a personal check.
Oh, well, okay. Then
I mean, you don't think they're going to apply it in the
yeah,
right place?
I mean, I hope they do.
Yeah, and if they
If
don't,
it went with the voucher, it should work.
and if they don't, John, you can call us after tax season, and there's a practitioner priority line. I've done it with my clients before. We just do a conference call and ask them to put it in the right place. So
Right,
you can
because
always call us.
you have proof that it was sent. You'd have proof that it was cashed, and we will work with them with you to get it credited to your account.
Well, I sent it certified mail. I got a tracking number and all that,
Well, there
so
you
I don't
go.
know.
Well, then, I mean, it sounds like you've done your due diligence. You just forgot to put your Social Security number on the check, but it's with the voucher. So, especially when you covered your Tushy with all that, it looks like it'll work. If it doesn't work, we're here to help you.
All right.
All right, John?
You're human.
Yeah.
Hey, that's right. You are human, John.
Well, that don't count for much these days.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 9 on it, 930 on a cell phone. Our text line is down, so we're going to have to listen to your lovely voices when you
that
when you
memo
call.
of the check or the money order is really, really important.
It really is.
Yeah.
But like we said to John, if we have proof that it's been cashed, then we work with the practitioner and hotline, and we can usually get it solved.
Yeah.
And that's something we like to do. Well, we're going to take a short break for the news. I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady. Talk to you on the other side. Hey, I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax. We're open 9 to 9 all the way till the filing deadline Tuesday night. We'll get you done. If you need an extension, we'll extend. If you got an appointment to get your taxes done, we'll get her done. By the way, if you come in to get your taxes done, please bring in your information. I can't tell you how many people came in and they brought me garbage slips and they brought me invitations to weddings, but they didn't bring their tax stuff in, and which makes it kind of a problem to file.
It does.
All right, we're going to go back to the phones. We're going to talk to Rich. Hey, Rich, how can we help you, sir?
Well, it's kind of great program there, Esther, but I got an unfortunate situation with a relative that, and it dates back to 2020. She got a letter from the state saying you didn't file your tax, and what happened is back in 2020, husband had a nervous breakdown and left work and wound up cashing in all his retirement plans. So the federal government took their chunk of money, but the state never did. And she was not aware of any of this going on. So we're dealing with this letter from the state.
All right, so let me ask, does she have any assets anymore?
Well, she does own a house with a pretty good sized mortgage on it.
Okay, so Tiffany was talking about offers and compromise. The state has offers and compromise as well.
I had just tuned in when you started to talk about that. Yes.
So does she work,
No.
Rich?
Right
Okay.
now, it's just total disability. He went into a nursing home for a while, and he's in pretty rough shape, and so he's on. They're basically living on a disability check.
Okay. And did they own a house? I forget what you said about
Yes. They jointly own
But
a
he
house.
said he has a high mortgage.
that. And they have a high mortgage on it. Yeah, so they sound like a candidate for an offer and compromise. And New York State does have one. And so that's when you pay pennies on the dollar, and it's just a way to get from underneath that burden. And it's so nice that you are calling and caring about them. And that's what we do.
But we really, and we need till after Tuesday, because we're all bell to bell every half hour. But after that, I would suggest you give them Tiffany's phone number here, 632-7886, and then they could make an appointment and she'll work with them to get this debt settled.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
terrific. And the other thing is on the rebate for the state for property taxes.
You mean the IT 229?
229. That's done with.
It's gone now, but it was open for 21, 22, and 23. And I will tell you, 21 is going to close on Tuesday as well. So anybody that's listening that had property and maybe never filed your return because you didn't have to, and you're paying property taxes, you may qualify for this refund on New York State that goes from anywhere from $250 to $350. And it's called an IT 229, but the statute of limitations closes for 2021 on April the 15th.
Hey, Rich, switching gears.
yes.
Go, whenever you're done, just what were you going to say, and I'll
I
interject.
was just going to say I just filled all those out for 21, 22, and 23 for
Good.
her, so we can get those in the mail right away.
Well, but wait a minute.
When,
Yeah, that's true.
when he took the money out of his pension, was he over or under the age of 59 and a half?
Yeah, he was under.
So when he took it off the federal, did he do the penalty, the 10% penalty? Because I almost think it was a code 3 where he was disabled.
They took about 20% of the check and held it in tax.
I
All right,
just
wait,
wonder
wait,
if
hang
the
on for a second, Rich.
federal-
What Tiffany's going to talk to you about is if that gentleman took the money out and he was basically disabled because of a mental illness,
Yes.
that 10% penalty can be waived. There's an exception to penalty for that.
And so then they would have the money to pay the state. What I always do before I do an offer and compromise is I always see why you got into that situation to see if there's a way out and to see if there was a mistake. And so I would love to look at the return they did to see if there was something not done correctly. And what I'm
Well, there was
alluding to
no
is that
return at all put in for 2020. You know, there was nothing filed.
You mean the IRS did the taxes for them?
Well,
In New York
no,
State,
no, nothing was filed. All I have was a document that showed that the federal government did take a chunk of money when this.
Yeah, so
out
when
of it.
Tiffany's looking back at this, even though the statute has closed, it's 3 years from the due date
2
of the
years.
return, or, pardon me?
well, it's 3 years, but it's if it's past, if
Well,
it's
that's why I was going to say
okay,
in 2
sorry,
years
sorry.
after the debt is
Yep,
paid, whichever's
sorry.
later.
Yep.
So that would make it open. So, yeah, I mean, the thing to do, and for anybody that's listening, don't struggle alone. And to sit down and talk, we don't charge you to talk to you, to do discovery. So don't struggle alone. There are things that you can do, especially if you owe taxes this year.
What year did he take that money out? Was it 2020?
It
that
was
you said,
2020.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
when he
yeah.
left work. You know.
Okay. So
That's when he had his
I-
crisis, and for some reason he just decided to clear his accounts out.
Yep, I love to help people, and so just please give me a call, and we'll work through it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. I'm Esther Galias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. You can't text us because our text line is down. But, you know, this time of year, don't you find that you're dealing with people that psychologically, there's a psychological component too?
There is.
I mean, there are people that are so afraid. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I was just telling somebody yesterday, I try to keep it light this time of year
Yeah.
because people are so afraid. They're breaking out in sweats and they're worried and everything. And then you say, gee, you got a refund coming. And they go, oh my God, I thought it was going to, oh. You know, psychologically, it can be terrifying. But it's just like anything. When you find out, the truth will set you free.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so beautiful about a relationship. I was doing a tax return yesterday, and they had to send it to me electronically because there were no more appointments. And so I'm doing their return and I'm like, you guys have a refund this year. But I called them and I'm like, something's missing because you guys usually don't have a refund. And sure enough, when it was all sent electronically, I didn't have one of her W-2s, but you just have that relationship and you know.
And you know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go back to the phones. We're going to talk to Linda. Hey, Linda, how can we help you, ma'am?
Hey, Esther. Thank you so much for doing what you guys do. We love you.
Thank you.
My husband and I, we're almost to the point where we're going to have too much in our bank accounts. It's a good problem.
Yep.
As far as covering for like FDIC insured, we actually have a credit union, so it's CUNA
Right.
insured.
Right.
Is it per Social Security number, or can we go to another institution and open another account?
No, you can, as a matter of fact, like let's say you have it with your name, and that's up to $250. Your husband's
Right.
name, that's up
Right.
to $250. Joint.
Right.
You know, I mean, each one of those accounts are 250,000 FDIC
We do. We're
insured
we're getting close to exceeding that though, because
Okay, but you
I
can
have
go to
yet
other banks. You can go to other financial institutions.
So it is per institution, and it's not per.
It's per
Social
account
Security number.
per institution.
Oh, that's nice. Because what do you do? What do you do? We're like on the
CDs.
downswing. We're getting close.
But I'm going to tell
60.
you, you know, here's the thing. If
Yeah, it's not there to be covered.
if there was a big crash like that, I mean, just
Yeah.
talking about practical, there was a big crash like that. Not that you wouldn't want to cover everything possible, but
I
there
know.
isn't that. There's not that kind of money to cover.
I heard 15%. I
Right.
heard 15% nationwide is
Right.
all.
It's true.
Yeah, in that. Yeah, it's probably less than that now.
I mean, there is nothing in this world that is sure except
No.
for death.
death and taxes.
Well, I know they say death and taxes, but the truth is, the only thing that you can count on, if you want to call it counting on it, is to die. I mean, there's no other way to get out of this mess but dying. So,
This
but
is why we love you.
and I think that worry is a bad thing. I mean, doing the right thing, planning is a good thing, but worry
Try.
is not a good thing.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All you can
Well,
do.
and congratulations on being so successful.
You know, it's amazing. Can I just say we're a couple of high school dropouts.
Oh,
And
that's
this
beautiful.
we have worked and saved, and we we don't go without anything. And it's choices.
Well,
honestly
it is all choices. You know,
Yes,
the
it
thing
is.
is, people, there's a real art form to being good with your finances, and usually it means that you can say a 2-letter word to yourself, which is no. Right?
Or fear.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. No,
Yeah.
I'm going to, and it helps, and you establish some great ground rules. You know.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah.
congratulations, Linda. Yeah, $250
dear.
per account per organization.
Awesome. Thank you, dear. Love you
Thanks,
guys.
Linda.
Take care.
Love you.
Thank you. Love you.
It's so funny. I asked Chris about a couple weeks ago. I go, you know, we have the pleasure of looking at people's finances and how they manage it. I go, what is your take on the best way to handle your life and your finances? And he said, you know, some people save and save and save and save and save and don't enjoy it. And so his desire would be a happy median, saving but then enjoying.
Right. Well, the whole thing is if you're in bondage to your finance, I've seen people that have millions and millions of dollars that come in with tattered clothes because they can't spend the money. And so that's an extreme, anything to an extreme,
Right.
right?
Correct.
So yeah,
I agree.
you want money is to be used, but you also have to save for your future.
Yep. It's sort of like you said.
And we're
having
going to go
faith.
back to the phones. We're going to talk to Dino. Hey, Dino.
Hi, Esther.
Hey, what's new?
I have an LLC, and it's a partner LLC with my wife, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. She's listening. The question I have is I filed the paperwork to be identified as an S Corp in March.
Okay.
April 2nd, I got a letter from New York State declining it, saying that I needed the signatures of all the shareholders, so they wanted Tammy's signature on the form. And then April 7th, I got another letter from them saying the same thing. But then on April 7th, I got a letter saying it's been approved. So should I send an amended copy of that form to New York State or
Okay.
just leave it as it is?
I think it's worth a phone call.
Okay.
I would talk to somebody, make sure that, I know in our society now everything is texting and all that stuff, but there's nothing as rewarding as to talk to somebody and to make sure what you think happened, because you just got two, and then one that says it's approved. I wouldn't. So you're talking about the CT6 that you mailed in, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So I'd make the call to make sure that you're good to go, because next year when you file the return and you're putting it on as a 1120S on a corporation S corp, and they say, "Oh, we never got that,"
Okay.
And then,
it'd be, to me, it's a phone call was worth it. And New York State is very easy to get.
They
a hold
are.
Of.
They're really easy. Yeah, you can call us if you need the phone number, and we'll give you the phone number. So Dino, in 2024, did you file as a partnership or did you do a Schedule C?
No, I filed as a partnership, and in
That's
March
right.
of
That's
this year,
correct.
I filed for this year to
That's
be
correct.
identified
You
as
are
a-
correct. Dino wins.
That's right. I
Yep.
was checking to see if you did a partnership. 1165 this
Yep.
year.
No. And I have one more
I'd
question.
call.
Yes.
Okay, and I have one more question. As an S corp, do I still need to file quarterly estimated payments like I did with the LLC?
If you have a profit, yes.
Right.
If you're going
I
to
mean,
have a profit.
it's you do estimates on your personal, you do estimates on a corporation, you do estimates on a partnership if you're going to have a liability. But the thing is, the corporation doesn't do the estimates. On an S corp, it
Individual.
flows over to your personal. So you're going to do the estimates on your personal because of the net profit of the corporation.
Yeah, so the corporation's going to generate a K1, which
Right.
would hopefully have a profit because we want to be profitable. That'll flow over to your personal. The
And that's
estimates
where you
would,
do your
And the
estimates.
estimates would be on the personal.
Okay.
Okay.
And do I have time for one more question, or you got to get up and move on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. I filed my taxes last year as an LLC. I overpaid my estimated taxes with New York State and with the federal government by quite a bit. And I got a check back from the federal government. It was an actual check. I usually have direct deposit, but it was through the business and not through my personal. Is that correct?
So they did it in the tax ID number of your business, or the
Yes,
name of your business?
The check is addressed to me and my business.
It's the business
No.
didn't do the estimates, did it?
What's that?
The business didn't do the quarterlies, did it?
No, it should have
Your
been.
personal did it. Well,
No, that
the thing
wasn't
is,
correct.
can you get it? Can you get it? It doesn't make any difference. They're giving you the money.
I
Can you
think-
get it cashed? Is the question.
I think you said it did cash, right?
No, I got the check. I haven't cashed it yet. It's
Right.
an actual.
So as long as you
copy
can get
check.
it cashed, the only time I would call them is if I can't cash the check. But it
Right,
isn't.
okay.
It wouldn't be correct putting it in the business name because
Okay,
you
so
paid
should-
it personally.
That's very peculiar.
Yeah, that is peculiar.
And
But there's a
when I
lot of
pay my-
peculiar stuff going around.
when I pay my quarterly estimates, does it matter what account that comes out of, personal or business?
If it's your estimated payments, it's your personal.
Okay, so it should come out of the
Because it's
personal,
not
the
an
business.
expense on the corporation.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's probably where I screwed because I've been paying it through the business, the
Yeah.
quarterlies.
Well, it should have been personal. But
So that's
anyway.
probably why they wrote a check through the business name then.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so
Good
now I'll do
question.
through,
Thanks
I'll
for
do it through
calling,
personal.
Dino.
Really good questions.
Yep. All right, Mr. Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930. You can't text us. Our text line is down, but we're going to talk to Peggy. Hi, Peg.
Hi, Tiffany. I miss you.
Hey, Peggy, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Good. Good.
Okay. The reason why I'm calling is last week I took my taxes in to get taken care of by your company, and I thought I had all the forms with me. And it turns out yesterday I was looking for something and I found a 1098. I should go and take it back to them and have them redo my taxes then?
Not
What-
necessarily. What was the
Mortgage for
1098
your
from?
mortgage?
It's for escrow.
The interest on the escrow. And
How much is
you-
it, Peggy?
Peggy, are you married? I can't. I'm trying to remember. My all the synapses are firing in my brain. I'm trying to
I
figure out.
know you from nursing.
I thought so. Where
Yeah.
did you? Where from? Well, anyways, it's
Agency.
nice to talk. Okay, got you to talk to you. Good
All
to
right.
talk
How
to you.
much is the interest?
Okay, it says the mortgage interest received from payers was $2,157.42.
All right. So that's interest paid, right?
Pardon?
That's interest that you paid.
on her escrow?
Right.
Okay. So it all depends if you itemized. If you didn't itemize, no, you can just ignore that.
Okay.
And Peggy, are you married? I'm trying to remember.
No.
Okay, so did you have another mortgage?
So this is the only mortgage that I have on my house.
Okay. And so did you have lots of money that you gave to charity in 2024 or a decent amount?
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
I'm
was just coming back from medical leave.
okay. I'm thinking that you didn't itemize,
Right,
and I'm
that's
thinking
what I'm
it
thinking
wouldn't
too.
matter.
But to
is
make
what I'm
sure, give our
thinking.
office a call, and before you come down, we'll make sure that if you didn't itemize, you can just
The
you
new
can just file it away.
The new standard deduction is like the Oompa Loompa. It's very huge, and so it's very hard to itemize. And so I'm thinking now on the state, it's a little bit easier to itemize, and that's why I was trying to figure out charity and things like that. But I don't think it would have mattered.
Well, anyway, so give our office a call. We'll let you know if it'll make any difference before you come
Alrighty.
down.
And welcome back to work, Peggy.
Actually, I've been back since October of 2023, but it's been like super slow.
Well, welcome back. We're glad
Yep.
you're back.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Okay,
calling.
God
I'm
bless.
Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Hey, to us, you are family. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. We are running out of time. We are running on empty, and we certainly will help you. So if you need the very best tax help for the least fees, you come to EG Tax. We certainly would love to help you. You can hear we care. All right, so last minute quarterbacking things, last minute things you can do. If you have wages and you don't have a qualified pension plan, you still have till Tuesday to put money into a traditional IRA, and that can save you a lot of money. Even if your spouse isn't working. So I'll give you an example. Husband and wife, he's got a part-time job making $18,000 and his wife doesn't work. They still would qualify for 2 IRAs because she can piggyback off of him and put money into an IRA. So think about it, especially if they're 50 or older, they could put away $16,000 and it would, in most situations, mitigate the tax bill. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing is if you have a high deductible medical insurance, you can put money into an HSA up till Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way to cut the tax bill down. Other thing, I got my notes here. If that's the case and you're opening up savings accounts, pension funds, don't forget the pension savers credit. The pension savers credit is they're giving you a pat on the back by reducing your tax liability by putting money into a pension. So they give you a pension savers credit. And make sure that before you mail in that return, make sure you got everything on there. And again, get that return timely filed, because the failure to file penalty is the big thing. Remember, Tuesday is extension deadline. Is the day that all tax returns are due, including extensions. But with your extension, you have to pay the liability if you don't want to have the penalties.
Absolutely.
And so that's it.
It's really, really important you just get it filed. It's
Right.
really not a problem.
Now, one of the things we want to watch out for is the Trump tax cuts that took place when he was the former president, and then the 4 years elapsed. those tax cuts, the $2,000 child tax credit, the double standard deduction, the reduction in corporate taxers, the QBI deduction, that's all scheduled to expire in December if they don't re-up those tax cuts. So even if you don't like Donald Trump, you certainly should like the tax cuts, because that's how we've been operating the last few years, and they're set to expire.
Yeah, you said if they don't get their act together, that's the Congress and Senate, we're really going to be in trouble. And I think people don't understand the savings that they've been getting.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, some of the other things on the drawing board is the elimination of the taxability of Social Security. For those of you that are paying taxes on your Social Security, you know how onerous it is. It's just onerous.
Gosh. I've been looking at people's tax return, and I'm doing a little planning. If they get rid of the taxability on the Social Security, I would say on average it's saving people like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
That's true. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So there's that. The tax on tips and the tax on overtime to be eliminated.
Yep.
And for those of us who live in New York State, the SALT limitation, the state and local tax limitation, right now you can pay $25,000 in taxes in New York State. They won't let you take it. You're limited to $10,000. That's another thing that's being batted around to be eliminated. So all these things, if they happen, you listen to Ask the Tax Lady. We will keep you informed.
I mean, I was looking at Social Security. There's a lot of people, if they get rid of and dismantle the taxability of Social Security, they will not have to file. Many people.
Well, see, and I don't want people to misunderstand. They're not talking about getting rid of Social Security.
Right.
They're talking about getting
The
rid of the
taxability.
taxes on Social Security. Many people don't realize they are paying a lot of money in taxes on the Social Security that they receive, and so this is one of the things that they're bantering around. But I'll tell you this. Deadline is Tuesday. You have to file your tax return or get the extension in, state and federal, 4868 on the federal, IT 370 on New York State. They if you're going to owe money, you got to get the money in. If you need help, EG Tax is there to help you, 9 to 9 Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday. So we're open late tonight, Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday. Until next week.
Until next week.
Yay! I'm Esther Golias, the Tax Lady. Thanks for listening.